Well, welcome back. In this video we're going to tear this 253 apart for the hot tank. We just got to strip the head out and all the bits and pieces on the block. And the reason I'm building up this engine is for the little forklift here. So I rescued this forklift a few years ago now. Maybe 3.5 years ago, I've forgotten now, but anyway, it was a total basket case, and the previous owner had run it without cooling for years. And when I got it, it wasn't running, so I brought it into my shop, and I figured I'd make a quick turnaround on this thing, and I'd have it up and running, and we would put up my 2-post lift with it rather than renting one. So I got it cheap, but the engine is trashed in it. It's a Buda D175 that's rebadged by Alice Chalmers to an Alice Chalmers engine, but it's truly a Buda. They're beautiful. It's a beautiful little engine, but God, I just can't find parts for the thing, and it's pretty well worn right out. The guy that owned it never changed the oil in it, and it's just dusted. But unfortunately, the block was cracked. I welded it up, and that's actually working. The welds are holding, but the head is leaking now. So the gasket is leaking out the head. So it needs a new engine, and the 253 is going to be that engine. So that's why I'm building up the 253. I was really looking for a little deer or something for it, but I found the 253, and I bought that. But I want to get that 253 out of here and into the shop and get it all cleaned up. So they'll hot tank it and then Magnaflux it for me. And then I know if I have a good engine. And I'll show you. This poor thing, God. It even has an ether, zero-start ether injection system on it. But even with that, it would never start right now without the ether. I mean, you could get it going, but it would just wear out the starter battery. So this is with ether. It's like a hit and miss now. It runs on 3 and then bangs off once in a while on the 4th. If I run it for about half an hour, 40 minutes to get the coolant temperatures up, it'll run on 4 cylinders. But it's perfect for little jobs like this or big jobs. It'll lift 4,000 pounds, so it's an ideal forklift for working around shops and things like that. But the little Buddha sure is in hard shape, and it just smokes the shop up too if you don't warm it up. It's just nasty. It's raw diesel and oh. So anyway, here it is. Basically, I stripped this and all my other Detroits before this channel was started. I might have mentioned that on a previous video. I can't remember. So a good friend of mine, Chris, gave me this. Thanks if you're watching, Chris. So out of basically 2 blocks, this one here as well, I'm able to make one good engine. So this engine I got the same place I bought that 353 from. And the story behind this, I went to pick up this 253 and I found the 353 in the compressor. And the guy was scrapping it all, like basically by the pound. So I, like I said before, I just jumped at it. So that's how I ended up with these. And then my friend Chris said, if you need more parts, I've got a block with a crank in it. And I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we're going to build this up. And I'll take you through the steps. So to begin with, all I do, I just take the caps off. And pull the bearings out. I've got parts for this I've scavenged over the last couple of years. I've got liner kits and pistons and bearings and everything. So we're going to replace the bearings. These are 10 under bearings, and they're actually in pretty good shape. I could throw them back in the engine, but we're going to replace them. Being this is going to be a forklift engine, I've got overhaul kits for it, but I'm going to buy a set of cast iron rings to help stop wet stacking. Apparently they work pretty good. So I've got to make a list of stuff I've got to order and do that. And then I'm also going to put an exhaust restrictor on it, so reduce the amount of exhaust to build more heat, and then that will help stop the wet stack. So as you can see with the forklift with Alice, I think a lot of that wear and tear has contributed to the wet stacking as well. It's hard to say, but when I got it, it wasn't running, and I did an oil analysis on it, and it was really bad. Ooh, I've never seen anything that bad. Like I said, he ran it without coolant. For God knows he had a big crack in the block, and I welded all that up. And I was hoping it might come good, but over 100 hours on it now, and it's never going to come good, you know. it's screwed. So yeah, this will go off to the shop. I'll clean up all the gasket surfaces. It'll go off to the shop and get hot tanked and come back shiny clean and right back to bare metal. When it comes back to the machine shop, and make a decision on what I'm going to do with it. Or maybe we can figure it out right today. There, that's roughed in anyway, and once I get the block back, I can finish it off with sandpaper. So there's a good look at a two-stroke airbox. So I'm going to pull those O-rings out of the liner O-rings out. One O-ring still in there. I'll pull that out. That's one of the reasons I like good coolant and a coolant filter, because it prevents all this damage. And apparently the leading cause of engine failures, I think 80 or a high percentage of engine failures are caused by poor cooling systems. See, that's the O-ring. There's two O-rings that seal the liner. So yeah, the O-ring's okay. It wasn't burned. Just looks kind of burned, that's all. It's just grease and stuff on it. For the degreaser, this is what I use. Man, that's good stuff. It's like in the day when I was a kid, we used to use what was called Chevron engine cleaner, and I'm pretty certain this is very similar. I'm going to pick out all these O-rings. Unfortunately, this one's in good shape. It's in pretty nice shape. So. This is all that seals it. This has some slight surface rust from being left outside, but it's easily repairable. You can just sand that. Light sanding. I've squirted. Yeah, so a good dose of this stuff. Let her soak while I do the head, and then it'll be golden. So this is really how I got it. Other than taking it off the block, this is what we have. Lots of carbon in there. Let's see how the valves are anyway. used up too. Yeah. So this engine looks like it's been used and abused in its day. I think that's pretty normal now for these poor old engines. Lots of sludge buildup in them. Sludge goodness. Oh yeah, lots in there. Yeah. So lack of oil changes. Ooh, it's nice. As much as I like the old Buddha, I'm gonna like this a lot more. So if you're new to my channel and you're watching this, go check out my my 453T and the 353T rebuild. This is my third engine overhaul now, and third engine back into service. A Detroit Rescue Plan. I should call the channel Detroit Rescue, okay? Instead of the garage. But anyway. Detroits aren't for everybody, but I sure like them. They're very simple. Well, the coolant system on this one's not bad. The head and the block are two different engines. Maybe too many. The guys at the machine shop think I'm crazy. The ones here locally. Especially with the 453T in my truck. They're like, why didn't you put a Cummins in it? Like, Jesus. I tend to pull everything out of them because the machine shop wants them all out. And if I get them to do it, they're charging me $110 an hour for some kid to be doing this, so I might as well save myself the labor and do it myself. So now we got it pretty well cleaned up to, just gotta pull the valves now. See what sort of surprise we have for that. There we go. So these valves are going to wear the valve guides out if I put them back into service. It's just, again, they're not expensive. And it would be just throwing good money after bad to try to reuse these. So this is what it looks like. Some nastiness in there. So, let's see. Scrape the carbon off. So I check between the valves. Just take some diesel or solvent or anything. And give it a light sanding to reveal any cracks. And if you are on a tight budget, you could just do this, I'm sure. Not have to send it off to the shop. Because you can find, and there's even kits available for doing your own MagnaFlux. Yeah, so we have travel restrictions now, and they're urging everyone to kind of stay put because the numbers have gone way up again. So I'll respect that. Yeah, okay. So the seats are hammered pretty bad. So they might have to be replaced. But you know what? In a pinch, if you didn't have any money, yeah, so they're all pretty bad. In a pinch, you could reuse it. But I'd rather do the job right. So there you have it. There's the valves. We're going to throw those in the bin and replace them with new valves, get the seats dressed, new injector tubes, new guides, new springs, and go from there. I think. We'll see what it looks like when it gets back from hot tanking. All right, I'll have to get my torch out and use some heat on the rest of this stuff to get it out, because it's not going to come out willingly. get these exhaust manifold studs out, I use 2 nuts and I jam them up. And then I put them in the vise. If I can't get this unlocked. Let's see, no. So then I put them in the vise and break them loose. But if you try to use vice grips on these, they just slide. Or you wreck the studs. So it's a jam nut trick. It works real nice. Yeah, it's going to need heat. All right, the old SD card just ran out of memory, so I'll put another one in. But we sweated that, and now we're gonna get it out. I don't know how you do this without torches. And I hate snapping bolts, especially when they're in the head like this. To get them out is really tough. So better to use a bit of heat. When it's finished, it'll come back nice and clean, and then I'll send it down to K&W down in Surrey, and then have them overhaul it, and she'll be like brand new again. Well, here it is. Pressure washer didn't do a very good job, but that's what the hot tank's for. So we'll throw this in the back of the truck and have the boys at Pandozzi Machine Shop clean it all up. Again, thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for upcoming videos. Take care, guys.